know we like this type of content, and today we are checking out killers getting attacked in jail. Please don't forget to like the video. Yeah, let's get it.
So hard.
No. Would you give me 1 minute? Well, I'm gonna have to get something out.
This is 19-year-old Lindy Jones, who's facing charges for murder in South Carolina. In August 2019, Lindy murdered 18-year-old Willie Antoine Fields. Following investigations, Lindy Jones and his younger brother, Jalen Jones, were arrested. Now in court, the mother of the victim, Angela Fields, has some words for Lindy.
Your Honor, I just want to let you know what they took from me. They took away my only child.
So what is ClickUp? ClickUp is an all-in-one productivity software where you can manage everything and anything.
It's been so hard.
Her husband, Willie Clay Fields, was consoling, but suddenly he couldn't bear the pain anymore.
It's been so hard.
Sir, back off, sir. Back off, sir.
I want to know if, like, the victim's parents or anybody from the victim's side attack a criminal in this situation, can that person get charged?
The officers eventually managed to separate him from Lindy. Eventually, Lindy was sentenced to 35 years in prison, and his brother, Jalen, received a 6-year sentence in juvenile prison. But this wasn't the only time families snapped in court. Like in the case of Diamond Alvarez. Diamond's mother was in court for the trial of 19-year-old Frank DeLeon Jr., who fatally shot their 16-year-old daughter 22 times. On January 11th, 2023, Diamond was walking her dog when Frank fatally shot her. Police investigations revealed that the two had been in a relationship and were on the verge of a breakup. Frank was promptly arrested. If you thought Frank would show remorse for his crimes, be prepared for his jaw-dropping conduct during the proceedings. In court, Diamond's mother tells the man who had wickedly ended her daughter's life how she felt. As she was giving her statement, Frank smirked at her. Enraged, Diamond's mother went to confront him. But before she could make it to the smirking murderer, the situation escalated. Diamond's uncle jumped in from the gallery and attacked Frank. Frank's mother rushed to his defense by attacking Diamond's mother, prompting Diamond's aunt to go after her.
Hit him, boy! Yo!
Eventually, the police were able to separate the two families. Following the brawl, Diamond's mother told the media,
"It was wrong of me. That was wrong of us because we're not monsters. But it's so much hate because I want my daughter back. And what he did it was horrible. Seeing my daughter there and looking at him that he did that and he's laughing in my face. It was very wrong, and I'm so sorry for that."
In the end, Frank accepted a plea deal and was sentenced to 45 years in prison. Fortunately, deputies were ready and stepped in before utter chaos ensued. But the same can't be said for the case of 25-year-old Tristan Lamoureux, who's facing charges for first-degree murder in Utah. On August 23, 2009, Tristan shot his wife, 19-year-old Misty Lamoureux, in their house. Tristan was eventually arrested. Now in court, Misty's brother, Jason Wilson, walks up to the podium to deliver a victim impact statement, but not before giving Tristan the death stare. While the magnitude of Tristan's crimes is daunting, his courtroom behavior will leave you in disbelief. While Jason tells the court how the murder has affected him, Tristan appears unconcerned, rocking back and forth in his chair. After a few minutes of addressing the judge, Jason turns his focus to his sister's killer. But Tristan's lack of remorse infuriated him, and he wanted to let him know how he felt.
Oh, come on, that is...
However, the deputies were at hand to counter any real damage. Following the chaos, the officers restored everything to order. Eventually, Tristan was sentenced to 15 years to life in prison. However, Jason Wilson wasn't alone in their courtroom actions, like in the case of Michael Madison, a serial killer who was facing multiple charges, including 3 counts of murder in Ohio. Between 2012 and 2013, Michael killed 3 women before he was eventually arrested. Before his preliminary hearing, Michael learns the magnitude of his crime.
Mr. Madison, I'm going to read to you the nature of the charges against you and summarize each one for you, as well as giving you the potential penalties. I know you've had a chance to speak with counsel. Is that correct, sir? Yes. All right. In the first charge, you're charged with aggravated murder in violation of Ohio Revised Code 2903.01. It states that on or about the 22nd day of July, you did purposely cause the death of an unidentified female while committing another felony. The offense was committed 1 week to 9 months prior to the finding of the body. That is a Jane Doe murder. The second murder is the same date, on or about the 22nd day of July. Michael Madison did purposely cause the death of an Angela Deskins while committing another felony. The offense was committed 3 weeks or a few weeks prior to the finding of the body. And then there's a third murder charge. On or about the 22nd day of July, Michael Madison did purposely cause the death of an unidentified female while committing another felony. The offense was committed 1 week to 1 month prior to the finding of the body. All of those are felonies of the first degree because they are aggravated murder. They are punishable by a possible death or life in prison and a $100,000 fine. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now in court, Van Terry, the father of one of the victims, addresses the judge.
How you doing, Your Honor? My name is Van Terry. Right now, I guess we're supposed to, in our hearts, forgive this clown.
Van Terry now turns to speak directly to Michael.
Taking my child.
However, the real shocker came when Michael unleashed his madness in the courtroom by smirking at Van Terry, unleashing chaos.
I would do the same. You have no remorse, my bro. You have no remorse.
Eventually, the police were able to restore order and the proceeding continued. Now, it's time for the jury to give their decision.
We therefore unanimously find that the sentence of death should be imposed upon the defendant, Michael Madison.
Following the jury's recommendation, Judge Nancy McDonnell reads her sentence.
I am struck by the sheer inhumanity of what one human being can do to not one, but 3 human beings. It is incomprehensible. You cajoled, lured, and deceived Shatisha Shealy, Angela Deskins, and Sherelda Terry to your apartment for your depraved purposes. You went on to abuse the corpses of these 3 victims. You stripped them from the waist down.
It looks
You
like he
folded
doesn't
them in
even
half,
care, bro. Whoa.
binding them so that their feet were up by their ears. You wrapped them in multiple layers of trash bags, and you discarded them. Upon consideration of the relevant evidence, the testimony exhibits admitted in mitigation.
In Big Time, you can collect Big Time cryptocurrency right now. It's easy. Battle across time and space. Choose from
It is a judgment of this court that the aggravated circumstances of course of conduct, felony murder, kidnapping, felony murder, rape, of which the defendant was convicted outweigh the mitigating factors by proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Accordingly, the sentence of death is imposed upon the defendant, Michael Madison, on counts 1, 4, and 7.
Following the sentence, the victims' families expressed how they felt. Michael Madison is still awaiting his death in prison. But this wasn't the only time parents snapped because of how the killer was acting in court, like during the sentencing of 18-year-old Peyton Gendron, who's facing multiple charges for murder.
Oh my God, he shot so many people in there.
On May 14th, 2022, Peyton, a white supremacist, opened fire in a black-dominated Tops-friendly market store in New York. Sadly, 10 black individuals lost their lives and 3 others were hurt before he was finally arrested. Now in court, family members of the victims let him know how they feel about him.
While I was writing this, tears fell from my eyes. Thinking about what a beautiful person you took.
This has to be the respectful thing to do. Standing next to the
My
person
daughter,
I to.
Robbie Drury, was a young woman. She was not married. She had no children. She never will. Robbie was our youngest daughter. When people ask, how many children do you have? I don't know what to say.
You destroy our lives forever. It's not a day that goes by that I won't remember May 14th and being 2 minutes sooner. I could have been in that store. And all I think about is, could I have saved my aunt? Could I have helped her get away from the bullets? Or could my mom be suffering more and lose her daughter, her granddaughter, and her sister?
One of the most touching statements was from Barbara Massey.
My name is Barbara Massey. I'm Catherine Massey's sister. You killed my sister. Cat was an aunt. She was a great aunt. She was a cousin. She was a friend. Cat said she was a committee of one. There's nothing Cat wouldn't do for people. I want personally to choke you and leave my fingerprints on your neck because it was unnecessary. You leave 200 miles to come to Buffalo. You don't even know any black people. I want to choke. You better think those places. You better say, cops, thank y'all for protecting me because I will hurt you so bad. You have made me sick. You got my family crying. I miss my sister every day. You don't like black people. Man, you don't know a damn thing about black people. We're human. We like our kids to go to good schools. We love our kids.
However, while she was speaking, a supposed family member wanted to let Peyton know how he felt.
We never go in no neighborhoods and take people out. Don't do it.
I would do the same.
Luckily,
bro.
the police were able to calm the situation.
What about Tia, bro, and all the stories that's coming through here, bro?
Now it's Peyton's turn to speak.
I'm very sorry for all the pain I forced the victims and their families to suffer through. I'm very sorry for stealing the lives of your loved ones.
Why you got I have
I
to
cannot
write that down?
express how much I regret all the decisions I made leading up to my actions on May 14th. I did a terrible thing that day. I shot and killed people because they were black. Looking back now, I can't believe I actually did it. I believed what I read online and acted out of hate. I know I can't take it back, but I wish I could. And I don't want anyone to be inspired by me and what I did.
You don't need none of that shit! Out of here! You don't need that shit!
Eventually, the judge reads her sentence.
The damage you have caused is too great, and the people you have hurt are too valuable to this community. You will never see the light of day as a free man ever again. It is the judgment of this court for your conviction under the first count of the indictment a domestic act of terrorism motivated by hate in the first degree, an A1 felony, that you be sentenced to life imprisonment without parole.
Peyton was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. But this wouldn't be the last time a parent lunged at the perpetrator in court. Take, for example, the case of Larry Nassar, who is facing multiple charges for sexual abuse. Larry was a sports doctor at Michigan State University and with USA Gymnastics when police received reports for his crimes. However, during investigations, Larry had a different story.
I don't get it. Why didn't she say something if she was feeling violated in any way, shape, and form? There was no communication.
Okay. Do you ever get aroused during these exams?
I shouldn't be getting during an exam.
Right.
Okay.
Well, this is why I'm talking to you about this,
Yeah.
because this young girl and her mother both observed this on more than one occasion during treatment.
If there was arousal, it's. I mean, like it would be because of whatever. I don't know, but I'm not trying to. You know,
Whatever. I don't know.
Well,
I don't
you
know.
When you're a guy, sometimes you get.
The truth caught up with him and he was arrested. Now in court, his victims take to the stand.
I testified to let the world know that you are a repulsive liar.
One after the other.
I am Jessica Tomashow, also known as Victim A. I was sexually assaulted by Larry Nassar when I was 9 and 12 years old. You broke and shattered a lot of girls. You manipulated us to trust you because you're a doctor, and doctors do no wrong, only heal. You are not a healer.
Now it's time for the parents to address Larry.
I don't know who you are now. Maybe I never knew. Maybe none of us did. But Larry, you did this to yourself, and you did this to us.
Inmate Nasser. That is what your name is. And don't you forget that.
And while we all are moving mountains, you, Larry, will have no choice but to sit in prison and wait to die.
And I said, are you ready to go to lunch? And she's like, no, Mom, I just want to go home. And I said, what's wrong? Are you in pain? And she said, Mom, I just want to go home. And I said, okay. So we got in the car and I said, and she started bawling. And I said, Chelsea, tell me what's wrong. And she said, Mom, he put his and they weren't gloved. And I said, Chelsea, I was right there in the room. And she goes, you couldn't see what was going on, Mom. And she said, he hurt me. In 2009, she took her own life because she couldn't deal with the pain anymore. It'll be 10 years in March.
For this particular parent, Larry's tears hold no value. Words were not enough.
I would ask you to, as part of this sentencing, to grant me 5 minutes in a locked room with this demon. Would you do that? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Would you give me 1 minute?
You know that I can't do that. That's not how I was.
Well, I'm going to have to get something on.
Stay down. Stay down. I understand.
Let me have that son of a bitch.
I understand, but stay down.
I want that.
Stop fighting. Behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
I want that son of a bitch.
Put your hands behind your back.
I know. Give me 1 minute with that pass through.
Yeah, go ahead. You're good.
Eventually, Larry takes to the stand.
What I'm feeling pales in comparison to the pain, trauma, and emotional destruction that all of you are feeling. There are no words that can describe the depth and breadth of how sorry I am for what has occurred. An acceptable apology.
In the end, the judge gives her sentence.
I find that you don't get it, that you're a danger. You remain a danger. I'm a judge who believes in life and rehabilitation when rehabilitation is possible. I have many defendants come back here and show me the great things they've done in their lives after probation, after parole. I don't find that's possible with you. Your decision to assault was precise, calculated, manipulative, devious, despicable. I don't have to add words because your survivors have said all of that. I don't want to repeat it. Sir, I'm giving you 175 years, which is 2,100 months. I just signed your death warrant. I need everyone to be quiet. I still have contempt powers. I told you I'm not nice. Thank you. That's all for the record.
Larry will spend the rest of his life in prison. However, while this reaction could certainly be dismissed as an effect of uncontrollable anger, the same can't be said for the case of 23-year-old Quinn Bowes, who's facing charges for murder. Quinn is in court for the murder of his 11-month-old son. What? Quinn was found guilty and sentenced to 25 years in prison. However, as he was being led away, the unexpected happened. Jeremiah Matthew Hartley, the child's uncle, punched him before he was wrestled down by the police.
I agree with that.
Jeremiah was eventually sentenced to 179 days in jail for his actions. However, while it was clear that Jeremiah wasn't happy with what Quinn did, his reaction to the sentence was similar to the case of Vashon Flowers, who was facing charges for murder. A disagreement about smoking led Vashon to fatally shoot his wife, Jamie Thomas Flowers. Now, in court, the daughter of the victim tells the court what happened.
He was irritable and said that he was a grown man. If he wanted to buy cigarettes, he would buy cigarettes. He got down on the ground and started choking my mother. Actually, I heard, "You don't have to do this, Vashon. Please don't do this. You don't have to do this." And then I heard gunshots.
Yo.
But during the sentencing, London Thomas, the son of the victim, couldn't hold himself. Vashon was eventually sentenced to life imprisonment. When emotions run high in court, the actions of London Thomas and Kevin Hall leave us questioning sanity itself. This is 15-year-old James Douglas Gonzalez, who's in court for killing Edward Hall. In court, the jury found James guilty of negligent homicide and not murder. Enraged, Kevin Hall, the younger brother of the victim, acted. Eventually, the police were able to restore order. James escaped the attack without injuries. Kevin was sentenced to 5 days in jail. Just when you thought you've seen it all, another convict surpasses Kevin Hall's wild courtroom display. Enter Dwayne Smith, who's in court for the sentencing of Clifford Thomas. Clifford and his girlfriend were arrested for killing 3-year-old Jamela, the daughter of Dwayne Smith. In court, Dwayne approaches the stand to deliver his victim impact statement, but decided to make another kind of impact. You can see Clifford's girlfriend and mother of the child in tears. Eventually, the police separate the two men and the session is rescheduled. Clifford and his girlfriend were later sentenced to up to 15 years in prison. Dwayne Smith is a prime example of a victim acting crazy in court. However, could Dale Williams' case be considered even a little crazier? This is Dale Williams, who is facing charges for murder. In June 2017, Dale ran his ex-girlfriend, Elizabeth Pledger Stewart, off the road, causing her to crash. Dale then fatally shot her multiple times as onlookers watched. Now, in court, the daughter of the victim is ready to begin her statement. But the sons of the victim had other plans. The police had to use their tasers to bring order to the court. The session was rescheduled. This time, the victim's aunt was able to say her mind.
When we saw him, his faith, we felt it was so much emotion due to a flashback of how he just killed my niece.
Eventually, Dale was sentenced to 15 years to life in prison. But that wasn't all. The two brothers also appeared in court. Dale continues to serve his sentence in prison.
Oh, so the brothers has an opportunity to get them in prison if they are going to this, but they won't do that, put them in the same prison. Like that. But yo, this is crazy stories, bro. I'm just checking out the stories, even though it's making me emotional, bro. It's worth watching to see how cruel the world is out there. But I didn't know America still has the death sentence. I don't know how that works, bro. I only saw it on movies and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm checking out more of these content, bro. If you want me to check out these regularly, let me know in the comment section, guys. So yeah.